Huh. Okay. Well, this is a whole new something I hadn't even known about. This whole trail system through here, which I guess is for horses. God. And the creek's over there. Again, this doesn't even have to be in a creek, though. That's just me. That's just my brain making an assumption, and then it locks in like cement, and you can't do anything without being by the creek. Doesn't have to be by a creek. Doesn't have to be in a creek or in the embankment of a creek. But again, he made that comment about the cold. So you kind of go, what's cold? Unless you're out in the winter, or which maybe it is for, but he says go out in the spring. I don't know. There's so many clues. There's this poem. There's the things he has said in interviews. There's just so much. You know, Fenn at one time said that he imagined, I think it was in a clip of his book that I read, or I saw it in an interview. He said how when he first did this, he wanted to basically be able to throw his body down where he put the chest in, because he thought it'd be a good place for people to just find his bones eventually, and they'd find the chest, because he loved this spot. It has some relevance either to his childhood or just his imagination or what he likes in life or something. But then, as you'll see in one of the videos in this whole thing I've done, I've got a YouTube video, and he tells this interviewer he won't discuss that anymore. Because the guy said, what about that? He said, I already told you I won't talk about it. And that was pretty much the end of the interview. So, what does that mean? I don't know. Maybe people busted on him because they thought it was a false clue, or it was leading them into weird places. I don't know. But anyway, he just didn't want to talk about that clue anymore. So it had come and gone like a... Because I was kind of going, yeah, you don't really want to find your body in a, you know, when some kid coming across your body in a park. But maybe that's when he realized, oops, maybe back when he was 15 years of age, in this, you know, park, there was nothing of all this around this. I think that would have been probably around 1945. I haven't read the book, so I don't know if he was in Denver as a young man, or a boy. But maybe he did think of this, some spot in here that he came back to as a place to die, and then he went, wait a minute, nobody today is going to understand that, because that's from, you know, when I was very young. So, it's just one of those things, you got to really use your imagination to figure this thing out. And, how are you? Just passing through. Just passing through. God, you know, if you're gonna build right next to an interstate, you're gonna have problems. Little pink houses. Give me a break. These guys are hilarious. I really like them. And everywhere that there are groundhog settlements, they put up these poles. I'm taking a break. They put up these poles, which looks strangely like they'd be perfect for hawks to set on. I don't get that at all. Anyway, I'm going to go back to my hotel and take a break. It's around noon. I'll be back for the afternoon. I'm going to end up on the other side of the creek, taking that bridge right there. I have made a profound self-realization about myself. I'm no mountain man. I mean, I went out there and realized that when I thought I was on that dirt horse trail and realized that was what I was on yesterday, and I thought I was on the cement sidewalk. I don't know. I'm not very good at this, but I do like these little guys. Although I'm sure they'd bite my ass if I tried to catch one, but I would never try to catch one. I just leave them alone. Uh-oh. There's another one. Oh, this guy right here is chirping at me. Hey, dude. Uh-oh. He didn't like that either. I don't blame you. But gosh, I live right next to literally live next to a busy road. I wouldn't build here, bud. I'd be way out there in the field so I can have a nice quiet night. Yeah, chirp all you want. Lunch break is over, and I'm back to the bridge. I'm just going to start down this side and see what I find. Below the House of Brown, which is right up there, and see what happens. I don't know if you can see it. You should be able to see it. There's a yellow sign there across the street way up there. That is the home. You can see behind the walls there, that's the southern, or rather that's the summer home of the Browns back in the early 1900s. I'm on the north side of the creek, right? And Molly Brown's house is right up there past the Lazy Boy. Side of the creek, not far from Molly Brown's summer home, but look what I'm in. I mean, it's I imagine it's kind of what Vietnam must have been like. Having never been there, but sorry guys, bother the ducks. But I'm just persevering along. I'm not seeing any blazes at all. No. But just to give you an idea that even though you can be very much close to, quote, civilization on your treasure hunt and kind of poo-poo this idea of being here in this park, you can pretty quickly be in pretty woodsy surroundings. Saw on the photos of this park that I thought was very Blair Witch. Still kind of thinking it. This is obviously not something that's been stacked up by nature in a flood or something. That is just, I'm going to guess it's the Park Service again. It looks like they've just kind of cleaned up this area right here, and that's just what they do with it. Don't know the logic of it, but I don't need to know what their logic is, but that's what that is. Again, just walking along this very kind of woodsy trail. I've learned at this point that things like that are beaver. I can tell there's beaver teeth in there. So it's not a man-made blaze. Even though for the millionth time, we don't really know what the blaze means. It could mean that, or it could mean anything. Some sort of marking is all I can figure. Fenn was a fighter pilot, a decorated fighter pilot in Vietnam when he was a young man. And I just walked through there. Can you see the path? I mean, this is right beside the creek, but I've seen documentaries on Vietnam, and I've been very interested by that war since I was at the very, very end of it. I was potentially up for a lottery to be in it, and I missed it. But God, it looks like Vietnam, parts of this place. Not to say that has anything to do with him. It's just, you know, if he's a fisherman type and he would come down in these kind of surroundings and fish and remember it and come back. Oop, there went a snake. These snakes, by the way, look very harmless. They're little. They're very quick, and they look like they're just looking for bugs to eat. Not me. But anyway, I'm persevering up the side of this creek, but I'm just looking for that blaze. That tells me that I could be right. Could be. About the loads, the heavy loads being about the growing pollution in this creek. I don't know. I'm not a biologist or whatever, but that isn't. Don't you think that's probably from pollution of some sort? all these suds. If he saw that, I could see where he'd, because he said he wrote it over 15 years, so he could have come here and looked at stuff that was happening and just made that a point of his poem. It is disturbing. I don't like it at all. I'm persevering up the north side of the creek. Kind of exhausted this because this is where I was today when I got on the other side. I came down here and I went over that bridge. I went down there, and that's just where I came from. So I'm not seeing a blaze per se that leads me to the edge of the creek, which is my theory. And unfortunately, once you have a theory, and it's like so many of the people I'm seeing on YouTube that are doing this, they have their ideas about what the poem means, and so they go to that specific place. And of course, how else could you do it? You have to kind of have an idea of where you're going. Mine just happens to be it's at the edge of a creek, because he alludes to a creek, blah, blah, blah. You've heard it all before. This is where I have to start thinking a little outside of the box. And quite frankly, I'm tired. It's hot out today, so it's after 2, and it's just like, really would like a Coke. And, but beside that, I'm going over old ground here. And there's people way over there, and see, I just don't want to, that's not even the creek, that's like a pond or something. But of course, it could be in the pond by the creek. I don't know. I'm going to head back now, and I guess I'll go to the Molly Brown place. I'm curious. And then I'm going to go, there is a place up the road called the Blaze, something Blaze. It's on the map. If it was there in 2010, who knows, maybe he put it, but if it's a couple of few roads off of the creek, I'm not going to bother with it. Starting to get a little irritated. But there is a place way up at the head of this that I'd have to drive, which I've got 2 more days, so I can certainly do it, which will be the maps of this green belt show it. It's where you actually start to get into the mountains, and of course you're really looking at the mountains, plus there is water right beside it. At the time of the picture it was iced over, but it was definitely, it wouldn't be today or tomorrow, so other places to go and check out. I think I looked at photos of that and I thought under that could be the chest. I'm really dry. I need a frappe. But I can tell you there's no blaze associated with up there, because I was up there. I was on the other side. And there's no blaze that would indicate there's something under that root structure. Although just for shits and giggles, I'm going to get down as close as I can and take a look inside it from the other side, because actually it's quite open. Yeah, I was telling myself that I was going to go down there and look in there, but again, I'm going to take him at his word. I mean, if there's no blaze to look down from, you could find things like this all over the place. You could just boat up and down rivers and look at every one, and it just gets kind of silly. Like I said, this strangely is getting more serious to me. At the same time, it's becoming more, the enormity of it sinks in. You know, from Fenn's point of view, he knows where it is, and he's even said, well, I'm surprised nobody's found it. Well, yeah, I can understand you're surprised nobody's found it, but you always feel that way when you're the one that hides something. You can't believe people just keep walking right over it and stuff, but if we could read his mind, it'd be different, but we can't. Anyway, getting close to getting done with the creek here, and just, sorry, I'm going to go up to the Molly Brown house. I'm going to ask them, you ever heard of Fenn's Treasure? And I'll bet they all go, no. Like you're the only one that's even thinking about it. And then, like I said, there's that Blaze place down the creek that kind of interested. I mean, you can't hardly miss it. Even when you're on the map, it's kind of a big location. It says, you know, Blaze. And then either today or tomorrow, probably today, I'm going to at least drive up to the head of the creek where it kind of seems to turn into mountains. I had to do, because I kind of had my mind made up that you go up the creek from the House of Brown, but technically the House of Brown is down on that corner if we were up on upper elevation, and it would be on the other side of this road. So I'm just going to go ahead and head on down here. So anyway, this turned out to be a bad idea because you're in the city basically when you get out of the park. But there are people here under the bridge. And another funny thing I saw was there was a duck that was like shooting the rapids. That was kind of cool. Yeah, people living under the bridge. Just unusual paths we all take. There was something in the water way down there that did look, it was bright, kind of a golden white, and it was kind of rectangular. And I thought, it was right in the middle of the creek though, on the creek bed, and I just thought, that's not the bronze chest. The bronze chest is very dark colored, like bronze is, and it's kind of, I mean, the pictures I've seen of it were like a dark, I don't know, it just didn't look like I thought it would be the chest, and why would it be in the middle of the creek? It's got to be a very, well, it's 42 pounds. Okay, no more groundhogs. Who's bitching? Oh, there he is. There's two of them. These guys are so funny. Can't believe I'm spending all this time filming them. They're just funny. They just amuse me. Yeah. Oh, there he went. Later. What the deal is, I'm here at the Molly Brown house, and I guess it's not open. It says historic landmark, private property, no trespassing, which I'm doing as I speak, no fire, no loitering, 24-hour surveillance, $5,000 fine. I'm like, what the hell? Alright, I'm going back to my room anyway. It's starting to, as usual in the afternoon here, the rain comes out. So I don't know what that's all about either. This kind of reminds me of Florida. But we're nowhere near Florida or Hawaii. Anyway, folks, I don't know. I was going to go in the, I guess it's closed to the public. You have to go to the museum up north. Later. Tomorrow morning, heading up Bear Creek. Tomorrow morning, heading up Bear Creek to the end of Bear. Well, anyway, it's a definite location that I didn't really care to go to, but I've given up on the Bear Creek. I mean, I've got 2 more days, but oh, in the transport, Blaze Transport is what it is. It is right around the corner, but it has nothing to do with anything. So, with that in mind, it's time to head back to the hotel and probably take a shower later. This is the Molly Brown house. Right there is where I went. Yeah, see the back of the house? That's the Brown house right there. The Brown house. Get it? Brown on top of brown. I mean, folks, I gotta be right. Oh, I guess it's brick, technically. Okay, well, this is kind of sad, too. I've seen this guy a couple of times since I've been in town, that guy with his dog. So I'm sure the dog. There's an old joke. You ever heard the jog? The jog. Jesus. You ever heard that it's a joke? It's about the dog that belonged to the homeless guy. And the dog's thinking, man, this is the longest walk ever. Because you see, he's homeless guy, so they never stop walking around. But anyway, that Molly Brown's summer house is, wow. That sign was like $5,000 fine, and they have 24-hour surveillance. It's a historic property, but it's private. They were like really serious. So won't be going in there. I might go up to the, you know, the way this is turning into such a bust, I'm deflated, quite frankly. Let me turn this down. I'm deflated from this, you know, because my places didn't turn out to be what I thought they would be. Well, anyway, gotta man up to be in the treasure hunting business. But I might just shoot. I am definitely going up to this place near the head of Bear Greenbelt, which is kind of like what they call a trailhead, and you got to hike in, and you can see big mountains, and it's in the photos. And I'm gonna do that tomorrow, and I may as well just go up to the you know, just to the Molly Brown Maine residence, and at least that's a museum and you can go in there. You say they're nice. Ooh, Yummy's Donut House. I may have to try that out too. Interesting. Not your typical Krispy Kreme or Dunkin' Donuts. Alright, later.